let's finally cover the inverse of tangent values now. Now the inverse of tangent values is very similar to sine, so I like to think of them together. So similarly, inverse tan A equals to B, to get rid of that inverse, we just flip the A and B. Yeah, so the A becomes B and the B becomes A. And this is our notation for inverse of tangent. So if we have here a question which is find the inverse tan of 1, we let it equal to x, and then we can flip the two. So tan x equals to 1, and then we just think to ourselves tan of what equals to 1, and that's pi on 4. And this portion here is also similar to sine, where if we have the inverse tangent of a negative value, we can just take this negative value outside completely like that. So it becomes negative inverse tangent of A. So for example, if we have the inverse tangent of -1, I can just take that negative at the front, so it becomes negative inverse tan of 1, and that we know is just pi on 4, so it just becomes negative pi on 4. So I think the best way to remember this is remember that it follows the same rules as your sine values, which we learned right at the start. Alright, let's work through some questions now. So in question 18, we want to evaluate inverse tan of square root 3. First thing, let it equal to x. Second thing, flip the x in the square root 3 and get rid of the inverse. Third thing, think tan of what equals the square root 3, pi on 3, and we want to answer with inverse tan equals to pi on 3. Yeah, simple enough, very similar to what we've been doing previously, isn't it? Alright, let's practice another one. Evaluate inverse tan of 1. First thing, great, equals to x. Flip 1 and x, like we've done here. Tan of what equals to 1? Great, just pi on 4. So inverse tan 1 equals to pi on 4 there. Alright, question 20 now. So evaluating inverse tan of 0, let it equal to x, flip the x and the 0. Tan of what equals to 0 is x equals to 0. So therefore, inverse tan of 0 equals to 0 as well. Alright, let's have a look at our negative values now. So here in question 21, I want to evaluate the inverse tan of -1. So the first thing we want to do there is take out the negative. Yeah, so remember with sine and tan, the inverse of those, we can just take out that negative. And then we can just think of that. And remember how we worked out that inverse tan 1 was just pi on 4? So this just equals to negative pi on 4. Okay, moving on. So here, we want to evaluate inverse tan of -1 on square root 3. So we can just take out the negative and consider this, which we'd worked out previously to be pi on 6. So we just have negative pi on 6.